Did you know that the front lines of Africa's economic future are not drawn with borders or soldiers, but with tariffs, policies, and shifting alliances? Right now, a new trade war is quietly reshaping Africa's destiny, as the United States raises barriers and China offers an open hand. Let's quickly dive in and see why that is. In May 2025, the White House shocked African exporters by announcing some of the highest tariffs in recent memory. Lesotho's textiles now face up to 50% duties. Madagascar, Mauritius, and Botswana also saw huge hikes, while South Africa, the continent's biggest exporter to the U.S., was hit with a 31% tariff on key goods. For many, these numbers aren't just statistics. They represent shuttered factories, lost jobs, and uncertain futures for families and communities across the continent. China quickly seized the moment. During a high-profile summit in Changsha, Hunan Province, China, and 53 African countries, joined by the African Union Commission, issued a bold joint statement. Their message was clear. All nations, and especially the United States, must return to the right track, resolving trade differences through consultation, respect, and fairness. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi didn't stop at criticism. He unveiled China's own offer: zero tariff access to the world's second-largest market for all 53 African countries with which China holds diplomatic relations, leaving out only Eswatini, the last African state that recognizes Taiwan. But what does this really mean for Africa? For some, China's offer feels like a lifeline. African economies have long struggled with access to lucrative markets, often finding themselves at the mercy of foreign rules and politics. Zero tariffs could open the floodgates for African exports, boosting industries from agriculture and mining to textiles and tech. Yet, there's another side to the story. China is not just a generous friend. As its own economic growth slows, Beijing is tightening its embrace of Africa, strengthening trade, but also deepening its role as the continent's single biggest lender. Critics warn that this so-called partnership risks tipping into dependency, as African nations take on billions in Chinese loans for infrastructure, energy, and more. Already, some worry that zero tariffs are less a gift and more a strategic move to secure influence and resources in a world increasingly divided by great power rivalry. How are Africans reacting? Responses are as diverse as the continent itself. Some leaders, eager for new markets, hail China's zero-tariff promise as a breakthrough. Others, activists, entrepreneurs, and everyday citizens, raise questions about transparency and sovereignty. Who really benefits when giants compete for Africa's trade? Are ordinary workers and small business owners seeing the promised gains or just new forms of dependency? The real impact of these trade policies is felt far from the headlines, in factories, farms, and digital startups. For every opportunity, there is a risk. Without careful leadership, Africa's future could be shaped by decisions made in Beijing and Washington rather than in Addis Ababa, Lagos, or Nairobi. Africa now stands at a crossroads. On one path, deeper ties with China may offer access, but at the cost of long-term leverage and self-reliance. On the other, escalating tariffs from the U.S. threaten to shut Africa out of a major market at a time when jobs, innovation, and prosperity are urgently needed. So what's next? Will Africa use this moment to demand truly fair terms from both East and West? Or will it once again be forced to choose sides, trading one form of dependency for another? The answers depend on courageous, visionary leadership, on voices willing to speak out for African interests, not just in boardrooms and summits, but in the daily lives of millions. The world is watching. Tariffs and zero-tariff offers may seem technical, but their effects are deeply personal. If Africa is to reclaim its future, it must do so by setting its own agenda, forging partnerships that build real value, and refusing to settle for crumbs from any global table. What do you think? Is China's zero-tariff offer a path to prosperity or a new form of leverage? Can Africa find true unity and economic independence? Or is it time to rewrite the rules entirely? The choice is ours if we're willing to make it. And no doubt Ibrahim Traoré is slowly and steadily leading the way, but that's a story for another day. If this is your first time on our channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with content that highlights Africa's journey to reclaim its dignity, respect, and rightful place on the global stage. This is war. We are reclaiming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.